I mentioned in the Academic Search Complete video that I would be talking to you about ways that you're going to document your material as you're doing the research. And this first week that goes all the way through the 20th, I'm sorry, that goes through the 27th, is that correct? Well, anyway, it's for this coming week. It will be heavily research. And you're going to have to show me by the end of the week what research you've done. And you'll be doing that by showing me all the note cards that you've done and by showing me all of your sources. Now, in the last 30 years, I've normally taught this with index cards and Microsoft Word, and kids had to physically turn things in. Well, of course, that's not possible now. So even some professors are using this for their in-person classes, but it's actually wonderful for online classes. So let's get started. You'll go back to this screen on eConnect, just like you did with Academic Search Complete. You'll go to libraries, you'll click on that. Then you'll see this screen, which you also saw with Academic Search Complete, but you're not going there. You're going to Dallas College Databases. Click on that. Okay, now you're going to go to N for Noodle Tools. So click on N. These are the databases that are alphabetized, and you're going to click on Noodle Tools. This screen will come up. Probably you haven't used it before. If you haven't used it before through Dallas College, then I would suggest that you register. So read all of the directions, all of this. And then when you have an account, you will click on Noodle Tools. And here's my password. And then I have this is my username and this is my password. All right, when I click on that and I'm in, there will be probably a blank field here on yours. I already have some other ones that I've done in the past, or that I've shown students. They're just sample ones. But you're going to be adding a new project. You're going to click on New Project, and it may be the first one that you have there. Okay, then it's going to, when you click on that, it's going to open this window over here. You will have to type in whatever your title is. Mine is Critical Race Theory. That's what I mean. If I want to change it later, I can, but at least I've got a name. The citation style is MLA. Make sure that that's clicked. And also on the citation level, your college level. So you will go to the bottom and click on Advanced. Then you'll submit. Now, when you go back to your projects, which you can hit a back button to get there if you need to, you'll see this. You'll see you've added a project. Okay, so you will, and when you click on it, it'll show you all of these different things, but never mind, just click on it. And it opens up as a new source. It just automatically goes to new source. So what you're going to do, this is where you're going to put your works cited, which you know in APA is bibliography, but we call it works cited in MLA. So be sure to change your vocabulary there. When I click on that, I already know that I have copied and pasted the source that I got from Academic Search Complete on a Microsoft Word document. Remember when I told you about that on Academic Search Complete? So I have a Microsoft Word document that has all of my sources on it. So I don't want to have to enter all of these things because I don't want to have to do it from scratch. And I would have to, if I were to click on media type and database and then go to this screen, it's going to want to know the URL. It's going to know all of these. I'm going to have to fill all of this out. I didn't show you the whole screen, but it's long. So what to do? Well, first of all, it's a journal. Okay, so we're going to put that there. Okay, now I already have the citation. So I'm going to click. Now, it probably isn't going to come across in the format that I need it to, but it's okay for now. That's fine. We'll work on that later. Okay. I just now noticed that my picture's on here. Sorry, I don't have any makeup on. So, all right, let's get back here. I guess you don't really care about that anyway. Okay. We're going to go to journal, but right here where it says click on this and paste, you can't paste that citation from your Microsoft Word into that. So you're going to have to go, you'll have to click on that link and it's going to open the bottom up for you. And so you'll go over like I did. I'm going to copy. And then I'm going to paste it down in this window that it opened up for me. Okay. So once I do that, I'm going to save it. Okay. So up here, and then if I'm doing one source at a time, then I'll just do that. I'll come back and put another source in later. But if I want to put all of my sources down, just click on new source. It'll go through it again. But let's say that I'm done with that. I'm just going to do one at a time. So what I'm going to do is go back to my project and I'm going to click these 4 squares. When I do that, it opens up my screen for my note cards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on a new note card. All right, then it's going to ask me who my source is. So that one source, if I actually click on that, it's going to put that gentleman's name. Now, the more that I have, then it's going to give me a drop-down list because I have 4 already. Since I made this, I have a total of 4. So it's going to give me a drop-down, but it already has them alphabetized, which is crucial, and that's good. So anyway, you are going to see a screen like this. So you're going to put a quote that you find important there. In your own words, you're going to summarize. Well, no, I'm sorry, it's different. Paraphrase. Now, remember, paraphrase, when you put it in your own words, could be longer than the actual quotation. Then the last thing, because all of these elements, at least these 2, and I'll explain here in a minute, should be in every paragraph. Over here, you can have the quotation and then you'll put it in your own words over here. So in your actual paper, you may just put the quote with a lead into it that says who said it, where it came from. You could opt not to do that, but paraphrase what was said here and give credit to the person, even though it's not in quotation marks, it's an idea borrowed from this, and you would put an in-text citation behind it. That's up to you. Or you could do a hybrid. You could put part of the quotation and part of your own words in it. It's whatever you want to do on that. But this one also shows critical thinking. When we talk about complexity in these papers, it's this. So what? Okay, so what? Somebody said this about critical race theory, and this is the way I interpret it. So what are the implications? What does it mean? Where do we go from here? Why is it important? That's what you're going to put there. So I'm going to show you that I took a quote from that article, then I put it in my own words, and then look at my ideas. I've actually taken it beyond there. it says, and I'm sorry, I can't read it because it's kind of small and I don't have my readers on right now, but you can freeze this and read it if you want to. Not really what I probably want it to be in the end, but you know, this is preliminary. This is just research. That's what I'm doing, trying to find an argument or find some things so I'll know how to shape my argument, which is actually an inquiry. So remember, I had the who, what, when, where, how, and why. So I want to know what it is. So I titled it what, you know, I could just put, let's see, definition by, and then put this last person's name there. Now you can't use the title. So I can't put definition there and then come make another one and put definition. It will not like that. So I could put definition and that person's name, but then I have to be careful because I found several about the definition in this article. So all these need to be unique, but they also need to be, they need to be recognizable so that when you put them in piles, you can keep them all together. So I have finished this. So I'm going to save it and close it. Okay, so let us move. This is the second one I did. Same guy, but I called this one The Perils of Teaching CRT. Well, I already know I want to change that, but I didn't know it at the time. I just need to document it. And I could put repercussions of teaching and leave it at that. And then I put a quote there. Then I put it in my own words. And then I said what the implications would be. Either this, or a combination of them, and this must be in each paragraph, and especially this, if you want to get an A, if you want to show complexity. Okay, so here we are back there. Now, what I've done, and you haven't seen it, but what you can do behind each one of these, I made them, what do they call them? They have a name. I'm sorry, can't think of it right now. But anyway, I clicked on a card behind it, put a right click, and I basically, what I've done is I have put a new header where I can stick all those cards behind it and keep them, and I don't have them all scattered. At first I had, let's see, 4, is that 9, 17, 18, 19 cards all strewn across here. So what I did is decided to put them in categories. This one, I'm not really sure because this actually talks about 3 different states. Actually, I was playing around and I put one of the states under definition, but no problem. I can double click on this. It shows me all the cards under it and I can move it back under here. So anyway, but that is what it'll look like when you turn it in. I'd like for you to have these headers, try to come down with 4. And when I say that, you're going to have to give a counter argument. So even though this is an inquiry, I'm going with the idea that it's a good thing because what I know of it so far, which is very little, I think it is a good way as a course, not a whole curriculum being taught as part of a social studies course or whatever. I think it could be good. So that's what I'm doing, but I'm keeping an open mind. So I know that I'm going to have to give the opposition side. Why is it that people call this Marxism? Why do people not like it? Why do the right-wing people hate it? They think it's evil. I got to know all of these things. So anyway, but I'll also have I will definitely because I imagine most of the audience is like me. I will have to define it. What is it? And then what I might find is it depends on who is defining it. So that might be really interesting, which it is. Then I might want to talk about how it's taught, what the people who are teaching it now, and it actually, see it now I can speak intelligently about it because it actually started in, I believe, at Harvard. And so, of course, the right-wing people are going to say, oh, well, yeah, all those Ivy Leagues and those Californias like Berkeley and all that. Oh, yeah, they're left wing. They're going to love that. Well, okay, well, you know what? Have your own opinion. I'm going to look into it and see, because sometimes liberal ideas pushes our society forward, keeping in mind how people in the past have tried to promote it and what has worked and what has failed. Then hopefully we will try to make changes in a more constructive way. That's what history is for. So I'll have to give a definition, I know. So I've got opposition, I've got what it looks like, and I might actually, and in that what it looks like, I may talk about things that I think would be a great part of CRT, things that should be avoided, things that should be discussed, and how they should be discussed in the classroom. We, I'm sure you've heard this, but our critical thinking skills, according to aptitude tests, are going down in the United States. And you have to look at it and say, okay, well, what does this data mean? Does it mean that we are not allowing students to think on their own? I know that as a professor, that's what I try to do, get you to do your own work. Don't take anything I say for granted. I mean, I'm wrong probably more than I'm right, but at least I research what I'm doing. So that is what we teach. And then sometimes I found out in the business world and in the academic world, when you do think for yourself, I'm talking about not the students, but the teachers, the administrators, when we do that, we're slapped back down. So it's just a part of society. You got to decide, do you want to be compliant? And of course, you can still be compliant and still raise concerns and issues. Or do you want to search things out on your own, find a diplomatic way of making your thoughts known to other people? So that is a dilemma. We teach you to think on your own, and then when you do, you get batted down. So I guess you have to also learn to have thick skin, but also to be open-minded. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is I want this to be part of an exercise in exercising critical thinking skills. I can see kids in groups, in classrooms, talking about issues like, let's talk about Black Lives Matter. Let's talk about what this means and why people are upset that people that the slogan doesn't say all lives matter. And see that, and doing my research, that in and of itself shows ignorance when people say, why isn't it all lives matter? Well, we know that, but let's look at history and see why this is very important. And kids should be able to sit and talk about that in a non-threatening way, without arguing, and just seeing it for what it is, and being ambassadors for change. So if that's what it's going to be, that's what I want it to look like. So, and I don't know, I'm still doing researching. I may want to totally redo these categories. It's fluid right now. Nothing, I can change everything that I've got on there. I can change all 19 cards. I can put them in different categories. I can change the names of the categories. So, but right now I'm just doing my research. So what you can do is you can go ahead and do this. You know, I think I'll do a separate video and put it in the announcements, or yeah, I'll put it now. I think I'll just put it in your week 6 and let you see how to create those things. Anyway, so this is what you'll be turning in, and it'll be to an inbox there. So what I did is, these are the actual cards. When I double click on this, I think it left one of them out. Oh, one of them actually is still behind it. But these are the 4 cards that pop out, the one up here and these 3. This one has 8. Well, you can tell that's a whole lot, so it doesn't really show all of them on here. But when I double click on this, all 8 of these cards pop out. When I click on states, all 2 of these pop out. When I double click on definition, then there will be 5 cards that will pop out. So you're going to pop them all back in to wherever. See, these are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I'm sorry, that's now, no, actually I do not need to do, see, I need to do all this all in one day so I can remember what I did. What you'll do, let's say that you have a bunch of cards here and you have not created any piles yet. That's what this is called, a pile. I used to have my students take their, have their subtopic at the top and then put them all together under a pile physically. Well, now you're doing an automated one. So what you would do is you would say, okay, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to add it to a pile. Play like there are no piles. This is a pile. This is a pile. This is a pile. This is a pile. Pretend they're not there. I'm going to click on this right here, and I'm going to say add to pile right here. And I'm going to enter the pile title. Now, when I do that, I'm going to add to the name. And if there is a pile already by that name, it won't let me add it unless, oh, and I don't know why you would want to do it this way, because if I want to drag something, if I want to drag that, I can drag that to that. I don't need to do it this way, but it'll recognize you're putting a new name in there. And then you're going to click create. Okay. And there it says add a name. So you're going to click on that and add the name. That I added definition, I added states, I added all these other ones. Okay, so each pile, you're going to categorize these note cards and put them behind it. I probably wouldn't have that many pile. I try to go ahead and do some organization. I wouldn't have more than 4 to 6 piles. Okay. All right, that is the end. I'm hoping that this was fairly clear to you. I am not going to give you the outline one until later in the week, but I actually am going to get you to start that. Again, this is due on March 13th. That's the final copy, but I'm going to release pretty much everything within this next week and get you to, some of you are, you love to do things in advance, and you may even turn your outline in by the end of the week. But I wanted to give everybody the chance to get as many note cards as they can. Now, this is for a 4-page paper. I'm already seeing some of my cards that I may not use. I would try to have, if you, let's say you have 4 categories, I'd try to have 8 to 10 cards. Per category. So you could have up to 40. I'm not even close to being finished, and I have 19. If you have more, good. But the format that I really want you to show it in will be this after you share. And I'll tell you more about how to share your project with me in the next video that will probably come out on Wednesday. And it's going to take you to your outline, and I will probably do a separate one on your rough draft. So without, and again, if you have any questions, contact me at jholland@dcccd.edu. If you would like to speak with me in person, then we can arrange a Blackboard Collaborate meeting, and we can share screens and talk about things together. Thank you very much. I'm going to open a discussion board, and I would like for y'all to, and I'll give you extra credit for it, but I would like for you guys to at least respond to 2 people. I'll write this down. But what I want you to share is the problems or the roadblocks that you may be running into, questions that you want to ask. In fact, I tell you what, let's go ahead and just open it as a forum for questions and answers. So I'll do that. I'll give you the link to get into it. And why don't you post questions? Anybody is free to answer. It doesn't just have to be me. So I would suggest if you have any questions or if you can help answer something, let's do that. And I'll give this to you as 5 points extra credit. Okay? Because I think it would be very helpful. Whatever problems you're having, somebody else may be having as well. Have a great week.